Hi, it's Logan Wells. I am brining a turkey tonight. We are having some friends over. We're kind of calling it a Friendsgiving, but it's sort of a holiday party as well because it's close to Christmas. And I like to have some friends over that we don't get to spend the holidays with, or who I know don't have some place to go for the holidays, so it's just kind of nice to have everybody over and do a little celebration like that. And I enjoy cooking, so it gives me a chance to make a turkey, which I didn't get to do for Thanksgiving because my daughter hosted it this year, and she did a great job brining and everything too. So I want to show you this brine. For years I made turkeys for not only Thanksgiving but for Christmas dinners, or you can make a turkey any time of the year. I don't know why we always just save it for the holiday, but for years I just made it the regular way in the pot and kind of hoped and prayed that it would come out juicy. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. So I was hearing about this brining, watching all the cooking channels and so forth, and I thought, I'm gonna try it. So about 4 or 5 years ago was the first time I brined a turkey, and it came out so good. It was so juicy, and everybody loved it and raved about it, so now we brine every single time. The best part of brining this turkey is when you make the brine, it smells so delicious. It really just fills the house with all these wonderful smells. I'm going to tell you the ingredients first and then show you how we put it in the pot. You're going to need apple juice or apple cider. I'm using apple cider today. 2 gallons of cold water, 4 tablespoons of fresh rosemary leaves. We happen to still have some in the garden. I'm so excited. It just hasn't been a bad winter this year, so we still got stuff growing in the garden. It's insane. So, rosemary leaves, 5 cloves of garlic minced, 1.5 cups of kosher salt, 2 cups of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of whole peppercorns, 5 whole bay leaves, and the peel of 3 large oranges. So you can even smell this, watch. Psst. See that? Psst. Ah, smells like Florida. Okay, so first, gotta get yourself a big pot because we have a 22-pound turkey. I'm having 20 people over on Saturday. And we use this to brine the turkey in. You can do it in a bag. I've heard people do that in one of those big roasting bags too that you can buy at the store, but we have these because we make our own wine, and it's always just nice to put it in this big, what is this, 5 gallons? 6-gallon bucket. And hopefully that turkey's gonna fit in there. I think I've always gotten at least that big of a turkey, so I think we'll be fine. So if you have one of these, wash it out real good and keep that handy for later on. The turkey is thawing now. Since it's 22 pounds, we put it out, about 3-4 days ago. So by tomorrow, when I go to cook the turkey, then it should be fine. So get yourself a big pot, and I've already put, let's see, I've already put 1 gallon of water in there. So I'm gonna add the other gallon of water. I figured this was the easiest way to measure it. It's just to fill the apple cider thing with this. Come on, water. There we go, wow. And then you need 3 cups of either apple juice or apple cider. Okay, now we've got our rosemary leaves, which we just cut them from in the garden, or you can buy them whole at the grocery store. And I just kind of like pulled them off, and now my hands smell like Christmas. It smells like a Christmas tree. Put that in there. And then you need 5 cloves of garlic. I love this. You can buy it already cut up and minced. Saves a lot of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I just did like 5 tablespoons, which equals 5 cloves. Stir that up. 1.5 cups of kosher salt. Make sure it's kosher salt. It's a little bit bigger grind of salt. That's going to help tenderize the turkey and keep it juicy. 2 cups of brown sugar. Brown sugar. You know, rock it a little bit while you're cooking. All right. And then I've got 3 tablespoons of whole peppercorns. 5 whole bay leaves. Those in there. Whoop. And the peel of your 3 oranges. then you're gonna bring this to a boil. Just turn that on high. Yeah, that pot was just big enough. So you're gonna bring this to a boil, stirring it because you want the sugars and the salt to dissolve. Once it's come to a boil, then you're going to just shut it off, put a cover on it, and let it cool completely. It's not even heating yet and it smells so yummy. We need smell-o-vision. Okay, so now we've rinsed off our turkey, and make sure that you take out the neck, and surprise, surprise, the giblets in the bag are normally in the part of the turkey that is where the neck and the head would be. So don't forget about those. You'll get the neck out of the cavity, and then also in the front of the turkey is where your giblets and the neck bone will be, that you're going to use to boil, to use as juice for your stuffing. Okay, so we've got it in the bucket. Get that. And now we've got our brine. Oh, this is heavy. And it smells so delicious. I'm telling you, that's the best part. So now we're just going to pour that in over the turkey. It is cooled off, and it's definitely enough to cover. Now, because it's not absolutely freezing cold, most winters it would be at least 32 degrees or lower, but tonight it's only going down to like the low 40s. So we're going to add actually some ice. We went and bought a bag of ice, and we're going to put that in here as well to make that brine really, really cold and keep the turkey at a proper temperature so that you don't have to worry about any sort of salmonella or anything that's going to go on with a turkey that's not been kept cold enough. So let's do that, and then we're going to do that for 24 hours, and then I'm going to show you how to stuff the turkey and prepare it. We're back. Our turkey has brined for at least 24 hours, and we've taken it out of the brining bucket, and I'm now going to rinse off all the herbs and rinse this out pretty well over here, and then we're going to soak it in the sink with some cold water for about 10-15 minutes. That's going to kind of get a lot of that extra salt. We've had a lot of kosher salt in there to get that to kind of come up and out of the turkey. You don't want your turkey to be too salty, so make sure that you soak it for about 15 minutes. And while that's soaking, we're going to take the giblets that we took out of the turkey. It's usually in one of the cavities when you get the turkey. And we're going to rinse these off with water, and I'm going to put them in a little pan with some water. There's maybe about 2 cups of water in there. And we're going to bring this to a boil and then let it simmer while we're making the stuffing, because we're going to use some of that broth from the giblets to put in our stuffing. And one more important thing, I've got my hair pulled back because I just think it's safer. I don't have a hairnet, but I think if I pull back some of this long hair, I can't stand on cooking shows when I see people with really long hair, or they're sweating over the things when they're doing those what's the one where they've got so much time chopped, and they're sweating and they're like cooking and their sweat is like, I wouldn't eat that. So, try to do as much as you can. Pull your hair back, or if you have a hairnet, or if you're sweating, get a towel that you're not using for anything else and wipe your face, because nobody wants to eat stuff that has had your sweat or hair in it. So. I'll rinse these off.
What was that?
So gross.
And that's
But it does add flavor.
And that's the what?
The neck. Don't get any ideas.
Okay.
Then throw out these bags and keep filling that with water. You want it to just about cover the turkey. Give him a little shower. Okay, seriously, this did not look like this before. It's like he's got the goosebumps.
Okay.
That's crazy. Okay, so we are chopping up several onions, depending on the size, but you want at least 2 cups of chopped onions. Because I'm making a big turkey and it's going to have a lot of stuffing. We are hopefully serving 21 people today. And I'm going to show you how to make this really, really simple. If you have one of these handy dandy little food processors, oh, this makes this go so much faster than having to try to hand chop your celery and your onions. Okay, get yourself the biggest fry pan that you have. We're going to melt 1 stick of butter. And while that's melting, I'm going to chop up my onions and celery. So I'm taking these and I'm just kind of cutting them in big chunks. So I don't want to throw the whole things in there whole. I should just throw this in there like that. That would be easy, wouldn't it? Be careful. Oop, oop, yeah. I'm so happy to be hosting dinner. Ooh, that's really our start here. Alright. So we're going to put these in there. And put on this little top. Put that fits on there. And then you put this on here. Pulse. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. So the one, my eyes are seriously watering. Okay, so we have pulsed those until they are finely chopped. And our butter is melting over here. Turn it down to about medium. You don't want them to burn. And you can dump the onions in there. And then we're going to do our celery. Okay, now you're going to do your celery. And again, I'm just chopping these into bigger chunks. Let my food processor do all the work. But I've got about, maybe 6 stalks of celery here. Okay, we'll start putting some of those in here. It's better actually to do these in a couple rounds. You don't have to keep shaking it. Okay. I'll dump those in there. Be careful, these blades are really sharp. Like ninja. Alright, so I'm going to continue chopping the rest of my celery, and then we'll get the onions and celery cooked until they're just almost starting to brown. Okay, so all my onions and my celery are sauteing over here, and our giblets are almost to a boil, so I'm going to turn that to a simmer. This is when you want to break up your bread. Now, there's a difference here. My mom used to always take the bread and she would rip off this top little crust and then tear up the rest of the pieces like this. Or she'd have the kids do it, especially on Thanksgiving morning. If we were over there, we would do this while we were watching the parade. But today is not actually the actual holiday, so I'm just going to take these and I'm going to cut them into squares. It's easier. And I don't take off the tops because I don't really see what that does for the stuffing. It's all bread. And what's the difference between the top and this area? I don't know. So I use the whole thing. Waste not, want not. Even the heel.
I'm telling Mom.
You could tell my mommy. I'm in trouble. My mom comes and sees me doing this or sees this video. She's going to call the stuffing police on me. Okay, so again, I just got myself a longer knife because it's easier to cut through that. Very carefully, make sure that you are not going to cut your fingers. Nobody wants that in their stuffing. And just cut them into little bite-sized pieces. You can see about the size I'm doing there. Or if you have time on your hands, or you want to give the kids something to do, they can rip them into little pieces. We always thought that was fun to do that when we were kids. So I'm going to do 3 loaves of white bread, the big loaves, these giant sized. Because I got a lot of people, and stuffing is one of the best parts of a turkey dinner. So while I'm cutting these all up, I'm going to turn this down to simmer, give these a stir, and we'll be right back. Okay, I've cut up all my bread, and I've realized, because I'm making more than I usually would because of the amount of people, this bowl is not going to work for mixing it all. So I'm going to take some of this, maybe a third of it, and mix it in this bowl, just so it'll be easier and things won't be flying out of the pan. All right, so we've taken about a third of that. Now, you're going to do, since I'm making double the amount of stuffing I normally would, I would usually use 2 eggs, but I'm going to use 4. And I'm going to mix these up a little bit. And I always do them in a separate pan, or a separate bowl, I should say. Because as expert of an egg cracker as you may think you are, sometimes a little shell gets in there, as careful as you could be, and nobody wants to bite into an eggshell while they're eating their stuffing. So, kind of mixing it up, and I'm going to put just about a third of that in this one. And the rest of it in this one. And then I'm going to add some salt. And look to this. And some pepper. Take that off because it's just easier. Some of that. And then your poultry seasoning. I would usually use a tablespoon and a half, but I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons. What I just kind of, over the years, I've just kind of like lightly covered the bread cubes. This one's going to be a little bit more. Okay, so that was probably more like 3 tablespoons. And now this is where you're going to use the giblet juice that you've been simmering over here on the stove. Put that on my trivet here. Move my spices over. And take some of this and add some, maybe 2 scoops. You don't want it to be too wet, so we're gonna mix this up a little bit. I use a wooden spoon. Gonna mix it, and then you'll keep adding the juice here, or broth I should say, until it makes like it's just sticky. Like I said, you don't want it too wet. You want to be able to just kind of form it together in your hand, because we're going to put some of this in the turkey, and the rest of it I'm going to put in one of these casserole dishes which my husband bought me years ago, and I love them. They've come in very handy for a lot of things that I make.
QVC.
Okay, so, QVC. So I'll add a little bit more of that. And now I'm going to add the onions and the celery that we sauteed before. So I'm going to put about a third of that into here. And the rest of it in here. That'll do her. And now we'll continue mixing all that in. This one is getting to just about the right consistency. I think this is just about right. Make sure all your bread pieces are moistened. And you can see what I'm talking about. It's like where you can kind of like put it into a ball and it's not like really sticking all over your fingers, and that's the consistency you want. Okay, so this bowl is done. Now we'll move over to the other one. So as you can see, this broth here, it's got a little bit of like, you know, it's a little yellow because it's got some of the oils and the fat from the giblets, and that's what's going to add some flavor to this. So that's the purpose of boiling the giblets. Okay, give this a mix. Okay, that's it. Okay, so you're gonna get as big of a roasting pan as you can, and this is a big turkey. It's 22 pounds, and I think this is really meant for more of a under 20-pound turkey, but we're gonna get it in there. It also has one of these at the bottom, so it helps prevent the turkey from sticking to the bottom or burning. So we've taken the turkey out. I've rinsed it all really good, inside and out, both cavities, the neck. And then one thing you want to make sure that you take off, they put these little plastic things on here to hold these legs together. And you don't want to bake that because it will melt and burn in there. So you just take the legs out and kind of pull forward and up and out and discard that. And then this is where you want to take off some of this excess fat. I guess I should use this knife. This is just like a big glob of extra fat that don't really need in there. There's going to be enough from all the natural juices from the turkey and the skin that will create a nice gravy for you. So I'm going to cut this one out too. That's just pure old fat. Kind of clean around the outside here. That's pretty good. And you don't really need this thing on the end either. It's like its butt. Cut that off. I'm gonna throw that away. This skin I will leave this flap on here because when I put the stuffing in there, I want to bring this around. I'm going to use 2 toothpicks to hold that on there and keep the stuffing from falling out into the pan. Okay, so we're pretty good to go there. I'm going to put this, lift up this sucker. Woo, he is heavy. And we'll begin putting our stuffing in. Hello, 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 hello. It's like a little echo. Go on there. This turkey is so big. It's got a pretty big cavity here for stuffing. And I like to stuff the turkey actually and put it in there. I know a lot of people nowadays are like, oh, it's not safe, but as long as your turkey gets cooked through thoroughly, and you can check the temperature, it should be safe. We've done it this way for many, many years and none of us have gotten sick. So I'm going to put that there. And I don't want to stuff this too much out because, again, I don't want this as it's baking to be falling into the water and the giblet juice that you've got left over. You're going to use that to baste. And this is where I'm going to stick some of this right into the neck. And boy, this is kind of tough to do with this pan because it's so small. You know what? I think I'm just going to put that little bit in there, and the rest of this I'm going to put in this baking dish just because usually you can fit more in there and it'll like kind of round out, but I can't get down in there to put the toothpicks in to hold the stuffing in. But that's an option for you if you'd like. All right, let me wash my hands. Okay, now this is where you kind of want to be very careful. You can pick up that skin. Come get a thing of it over here. Just by the end, by the cavity here, you can pick up the skin and kind of stick your fingers in between the meat and that skin. Don't do it too hard because you don't want to break through the skin. I'm going to do it on this side because we're going to put some little dabs of butter underneath there. That's going to help add to adding flavor and browning. I think I'm just going to be able to do that up here. I don't want to mess with this end too much because, like I said, that gravy, I'm sorry, the stuffing and the neck is right up against the edge of the pan there, which isn't giving me a whole lot of work room. So you just take some pieces of butter that I've sliced off and you're going to stick those down as far into there as you can. And as that's baking, it's going to melt and it's going to add to the juices, which will make your gravy really yummy. And this helps make the bird a little more juicy too. So stick those underneath there. My oven has been preheated to 350 for now, and then I'm going to turn it up to 375 in a bit. Just want to get this going. All right, got those there, and you can always stick one between the legs or in the wings. All right, so this is in there. Now we're going to take the rest of this giblet juice, just pour that down into the pan. And since there's not a whole lot of that left, we used a lot of it for the turkey. I'm going to add some water as well. Let me just grab a glass here and we'll do it that way. And don't put too much water in there. You don't want your turkey kind of swimming, but you want enough that it's not going to burn or the juice is going to boil away. And you can, if you want, you can add the giblets into the pan and down in there. Like I can take these because that'll add to your gravy. Just put that in there, the livers. That big old heart. If I only had a heart. All right, so we got those down. Oh, no, that one didn't get down in there. The wing is blocking it. There we go. And this neck, I'm gonna toss that. Okay, so now you're just gonna salt and pepper it. Very well. And then again, because this turkey is so big, I'm gonna put some toothpicks on the top so that this lid, when we go to put it on the top of it, it's just about laying on there, but I don't want this to stick to the pan and then it'll ruin that nice, crisp skin that everybody loves. Okay. Pepper it. Pepper it good. Should be cut. You know what? This thing is just, that's too slow for me. Ah, that's what I wanted. Hit every area, and you can even pepper the stuffing there. Now I'll get my toothpicks out. And again, you don't have to do this if you've got a smaller turkey and the lid's gonna fit on there without it touching the skin. Just remember to take the toothpicks out at the end. Or you'll have somebody say, surprise! Surprise cake. And I think that will do it. All right, we're gonna put this on there. I'm gonna put those toothpicks down just a little bit more. You want to seal in so you know the steam is cooking the turkey. You don't want that escaping. All right, now we can put that into the oven. And I'm guesstimating with the 22-pound turkey that this is going to take about 6 hours. It's got one of those little temperature things on it that will pop when it says it's done, but we'll just kind of see how long this takes, but I'm guessing 6 hours. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours in the oven. You can see it's just starting to get very lightly brown. And I'm gonna add a can of chicken broth. And I'm using this just because I don't want it to spill all over the oven. And boy, it's hard to tell how much juice is in there, but we can keep adding as we go along. I think there's gonna be plenty in there now. Yep, it's there, okay. So it's got plenty of juice, and we've added chicken broth, which is gonna make that gravy nice and yummy. This is always the trick, trying to get this back over. And yes. Okay. Put that back in. Oh my God, that sucker's heavy. It's got at least another 3 hours to go. So we've got these little cookie bags that we're gonna give each of our guests. With some of the homemade cookies that we made the other day. And they can take that home with them. It's part of our gift to them. Okay, so we're having our Friendsgivingmas, which is kind of a Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. We're having turkey with gravy, and our turkey it's getting brown. Well, I can't even show you that because it's got the top on it, but I'm figuring about another half an hour or so. It's getting nice and brown. We got stuffing, we got mashed potatoes, we got sweet potatoes with caramel sauce and pretzels, we got green bean casserole, collard greens, cranberry sauce, rolls, olives and pickles, and some pumpkin pie with whipped cream for dessert, along with the other desserts and appetizers that folks are bringing. So let's just take a little walk around the house. We've made it look really special. As you can see, I've got my Santa mode. But wait, under here is, I can't even get that off. Our truck, look at it. It's a Christmas truck, which I'm kind of known
big
for.
wheels.
I have my red truck in the backyard, which is now in the front yard for Christmas, but we found some of these things. It's like a big deal now. I got my truck about 5 years ago and everyone's copying me. So we got the napkins with the truck, and this with the truck. And we've got our lighted signs. And then we go in here, and here's my big Christmas tree. I wasn't gonna put one up this year, but voila. This is what we've been doing for the last several years, because, you know, with all the gigs and very busy, this is it. So we've set this up. We've got about 20 people coming. We've got candles lit and more lighted signs. And it smells so good in here. It smells very Christmassy. And then we can come in here in the living room. Be thankful. Always be thankful. Gary's in here. He's eyeing our pumpkin pies. We got a little fireplace thing going on. And I've had these little guys since my kids were little. I just thought they were the cutest things. And I made sure I got 4 of them just in case I had 4 kids, but we had 2. That was enough. Alright, so Christmassy in here. Then let's go to the basement. So down in the basement here, this is the room that we're going to have our white elephant exchange. So we put on some, it's supposed to show the, I had one on there with the fireplace and the trees. So for some reason YouTube is cutting in and out down here. What the heck? So everybody's going to bring their white elephant gifts down here. And that's where we'll play that game later. And then as gifts to my friends, we baked cookies about 3 days ago. And we've divided them all up and they each get a bag. They've got their little name on it. And the cookies this year are amazing. So that's my gift to my friends along with this dinner. And the reason that we do this dinner is, you know, we try to invite our friends and fans over that we know don't have a place to go on Christmas or Thanksgiving. And I just don't want anybody to be left out on the holidays. I know what that's like to feel like that. We've all been there at one point or another, I think. And so if you got a if you're having a little get together, even if it's just family or so forth, put out an extra plate or 2 and invite some folks, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, a fan, somebody you know that doesn't have a place to go, and invite them over because they really do appreciate it and it does make you feel really good, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So going back upstairs to check that turkey. This is our master bedroom. So I always have everybody put their coats in here. But we have these up all year round and I just love these little magical blue lights. I love my bedroom. It's like my little haven. And we put up this tree. We do that every year. And then after the holidays, we decorate it for Valentine's Day and then for St. Patrick's Day. And then it finally goes back in the basement till Christmas again. And we have our fireplace lit, and this really can get this room very, very toasty, but right now I have the heat shut off. It's just for looks. And then we bought this in Amish country this year, and I just love this. It's so pretty and just so sparkly and magical. And then this plays music when it's not loading, but it looks really pretty. And then we got our wreaths in the window, and so folks come up here and they can put their coats up in here. And we're ready to have some fun. So I'm going to go down and check that turkey, and people are coming with their appetizers and drinks, and it's going to be a really fun evening. We'll check in a little bit. So the thermometer has popped, and now we're just going to leave it in there for about 5 to 10 more minutes to get really evenly browned, and then he's going to carve that up. Merry Christmas! We got all these wonderful appetizers. I haven't had those in a long time. Hi, I just saw you over there. Merry Christmas!
While all those stores
Finally got everything done. I just have to bake the cookies tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So bake
everything's got a capacity. Well, you know. So we got so many people in the country right now. We got to wait for some people to die out. Get out there.
Oh, I did a nice job cutting up the turkey. A lot of meat on there. There's the wishbone. We'll do it later. We made our gravy, which I just basically took the gravy drippings and mixed up some flour and water till it was smooth, and after this was bubbling, you add it slowly
into the gravy broth, and it nicely thickens that up into a very nice gravy.
How big's the sister outside?
Everybody back happy.
We're stealing gifts at this point. There's illegal gambling going on in this
In the
basement.
spirit of taking.
Oh,
no. Take this.
Oh, what do I want?
Here comes the Grinch.
Gene, you were saying you have the spirit of I want that Mary Joy. All right, you guys, here is what is in the sparkle. What is in the sparkle?
Yeah.
He's got black on too.
It's probably a whole big thing of glitter.
It will be a while
A
before we get there.
vibrator. Oh no.
Oh, that's a good gift.
Yeah, it is.
It's a nice box. What's in it?
It's a
Oh.
little electric toothbrush.
Uh-oh, well, maybe not.
No, it could be a joke.
It's a vibrator. No. Oh, it's an elephant.
Oh, really?
I thought it was.
Phony
Oh, you can use that on your mouth.
phony box. You never know what's in the box.
Take it out.
If
Take it
you
out, Len.
chew that, your teeth will get real good.
I was telling Colleen
All right,
today.
Steve's got what?
You know, I was telling Colleen today we should have a white elephant to put in the box.
Yep.
Oh, that's neat.
Napkin holder.
That's a napkin holder.
All right. Open up the other one, Len.
Maybe if you would have got the napkins, it'd do better.
No.
Get your BB gun out of there.
Did you ever play an air guitar?
Well, I guess that glitter one wasn't all.
Well, it's not an air guitar.
I'm curious to see what the heck you're talking about.
It is an air rifle.
An air rifle?
If that's what's inside of it.
Maybe you could get a deer with that.
Yeah.
Now this is where the party went wrong. He got mad and they found 21 people.
He turns it on us and goes, no, give me one. No, there's nothing in it.
Oh, jeez.
It's an air rifle.
That's an air rifle.
That's real stuff.
Yum, yum.
Just thanks, Stevie.
Yes, I want it back.
I know. I can't get it. Stole it back from me.
No, you hooked up.
Poops. Is that a poop scooper?
For your dog.
You just got a plug in it, so you can be like in your
What is this? Was it a kitty litter scoop?
Gift.
What is it?
Candy or something? Candy's
Nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, this is wrapped tight.
Steve, I'm just happy it got shipped. Literally, I got this like a day.
DVD.
Recording of Logan Wells. Huh?
Aren't you lucky?
That's like 6 movies on there.
Films.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. 6 movies.
Yeah. Oh, you saw one?
Another video.
Dragnet.
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 Nothing but the facts. Nothing but the facts.
Look at the back of it, Harry.
Oh, cash.
Oh.
What's that?
Cash. Yeah.
Now you can get home.
Couple of them.
Cool.
Three.
Anybody want to buy an Ohio State
What's
cup?
that?
Hey,
Twizzlers.
did you look inside the cup?
Twizzlers, and it looks like there might be something else in there. Oh, Russell Stover, candies. You're gonna have to dump it. It looks like there's more stuff in there.
You don't want the mug.
Candles. Candles.
All right, Gene, good.
Okay.
Oh, there's a $5 bill in there.
Was there?
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
said.
we're on here. Love.
People put money in these.
Love. Love.
Can't sing. I said, well, what's your excuse the other times?
What's this here?
It's a candy dish.
Oddball shot glass.
Japanese.
It does look good.
You know what's good about these gifts? You don't have to thank anybody. You know?
Yeah.
No, I thanked the
guys all done
crowd.
now?
Somebody wrapped it.
Here's that one you wanted here.
Candy?
Yeah, it's popcorn and nuts.
Gee, there's a red truck on it.
Yeah, you're
like
like
All right, here we go. The Steve wanted me to have this one, remember?
Yeah, see if you know the significance.
Duct tape, a $5 bill, and a Logan Wells CD.
Nice.
Oh, Shannon Lee.
Who's Shannon Lee? Mr. Lee's daughter.
Shannon Lee. If that's what's
the
in there.
name of it?
It's Logan on the other side.
A long road.
No, in the other side.
No, it's not.
We were
Showed
coming
it on
back.
the inside of the cover.
The Long Road, Shannon Lee, and duct tape. All right.
Yeah,
No
I did.
significant.
Open
Yeah.
up the cover.
I
up the
don't
cover.
recall.
Open it up.
It's not Logan.
But it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
tape.
here,
It
open
just
it up.
look. That looks
Just like at a
Let
real
me
quick
see.
glance.
really
it
serious.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Well, somebody's
distance.
copying your younger.
I got a whistle.
Woo!
Everything happens for a reason. And another $5, Steve. There's a reason.
You is rich.
How many pages in this book?
Anyway,
That's
and I
hilarious.
saved that.
Oh, another decoration. Oh. Open her up.
Body care.
It's a real gift. I mean,
Yeah, there's no
I think it
elephant
says
in
for
there.
jockeying.
it's a real gift.
Well, if it's massage oil,
He has no nails.
Joe has
Gene
switchblade.
players have no nails. Gene can open them.
See, good thing I didn't steal any more from him. He's got a knife.
Scrubby.
What do you got there?
Yeah, it is.
Wife, give it to the wife.
Yeah, give it to the wife. Rewrap it, and give it to the wife.
Let him get that with the knife. You don't. You're
Well,
not-
at least you got something in the
Oh,
box.
I got it. I got it.
Unlike
Is there anything in there?
The directions for the air rifle.
That's why I stole that from Laura.
Oh my God. This imitator of Gene Jackson.
Oh, that's a good one.
That took some, you know.
Oh my God, that's
not
hilarious.
it's a toss-up. Who's better?
Oh, here.
$5 bill.
Patty. That's funny. Well, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's
Find
time.
that picture.
I didn't do it.
I think that was a white elephant gift.
Oh, did you put that in there?
What? No, they mine.
Oh. That's not your rating.
There you go.
That was mine.
Oh my gosh.
Chocolate hazelnut roll.
Well,
We've
what's
all
it?
been waiting
Yeah.
for it.
That was mine.
Big plastic bag. You wanted that.
And we have another box.
Nice construction.
Well, he's got his knife.
Yeah, oh boy.
You're gonna keep going.
Good thing he
All right,
You know
let's
what's
keep on
in there?
going.
Stuffed
was meant
cabbage.
to
I
open.
believe.
Let's keep on going.
Pretty good with that knife, ain't he?
You hear a scream.
Billy Fisher pops out.
Is there another?
We got a bag.
There's a little card that
Hopefully
says wait
it's
till
a
next
sweater.
year. Yeah, nobody's admitting
Oh,
it.
and who has the duct tape? Steve.
No, his is white duct
Play
tape.
the duct tape?
Steve has the white duct tape.
There's more duct tape.
That's black duct tape though, that's expensive.
That's something. The duct tape costs more than the gift.
Yeah, probably.
A whole roll of duct tape.
All right, and I get one more.
One more.
Look at the mess.
More garbage bags.
I'll tell you, this is very
I'm
good.
glad Mrs. K.
I hope you're not in a hurry.
I'm glad I didn't take it.
I don't think I have the strength.
I just sweat my head off over it.
Well,
Gonna need it down there.
show Patty. Show Patty.
Oh my God! I can't imagine you buying that.
That would
That would fit you better than it's gonna fit me.
They make great earmuffs, you know what I'm saying?
Look
If you're
at
cold.
That would have been mine. See, it should have been mine.
Boy, I'm glad I didn't get
Joe,
that.
it's so you.
I get the yarn.
There you
Yarn?
I'll take the yarn. You take the bra.
The
yarn.
whole thing's been a yarn.
Oh, I like these. I'll take these. Yeah, wire brushes. I'll take
there's
the
more
wire
stuff in
brushes.
there.
Oh, that's
I had some thought to this.
I'll take that. I like that.
What's the correlation? But I mean,
Yes,
what-
exactly. What's the correlation?
yeah.
What's the time when a
gotta
bra
scrub
knitting?
your
Wire brush,
Wire brush
wire
yarn.
brush bra, and a whole thing of yarn. Now we have to figure out the
Yarn
mystery.
and floss.
Listen, bra, yarn,
The guy who bought this stuff is really deranged.
wire brush.
Like it.
Not carols?
Yep, in the carols.
In the carols, okay.
4 gifts altogether.
How about, oh
Oh,
my God.
$5.
How about
Steve.
that? How sweet. Oh, there's something else inside.
Oh, that's a Logan Wells CD, I bet you. Steve.
It's worth 15.
It's a little small.
That's worth at least $1,000.
Oh, there is a CD.
Christmas.
It has no cover.
Ooh, rock and roll Christmas.
How about that?
There you go.
Hey.
Well, it's Christmas time, pretty baby.
I want a bra. Yeah, it's like a mystery gift. I'll show it to you. Hold on.
Tire
Face
pressure valve cabs. Is that really what's in there?
So hold on. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi,
Yeah,
Alicia.
put it on there. Oh, look at- Isn't it him that put your arm through
That is really you.
Oksana, what do you think? Is this my color or is it yours?
Put your arm through here.
That's probably what
now
it
you
is.
go.
Take the box.
And the
Look at how I
crazy thing is
fill
he
it out.
fills it out.
Look at how I fill it out. Not bad, huh? Look at all these
Shows you
people.
how much air's in your tires.
Yeah,
Hi.
yeah. Hold on. Sneak peek, sneak peek.
I'll tell you how much air you got in your tires.
Really?
20 on. Is that
Numbers
fair?
on there. That's
Well, that's
32
cool.
pounds, it says 32.
Look, I could
pretty
definitely
pink.
use that.
Pretty
Little
pink.
advertising
Oh, I
kit.
don't know. That's.
Leave that. Come over.
Moonshine.
Aw.
Moonshine.
Moonshine.
Oh, moonshine.
Well, you're here and you're smelling.
Yeah, one Michigan State family gets it.
An elephant.
Oh, gee, look at.
I
We got a white elephant.
No, really? Wine?
Pinot Grigio.
Nice.
Gary.
Santa Claus. Is that the Grinch? Santa Claus in
Conquers the Martians.
Oh my gosh.
DVD.
And the book.
And a book.
So you not only get to see it, you read the whole story of it.
Wow.
True but shocking story. Everything you want to
Can't-
do.
I can't- okay.
Conquers the Martians, but
Oh,
we're
those
afraid
are
of it.
Oh,
nice.
dish spray.
And I bet you can always use some.
Oh, I need these.
It's so bad. It's good.
Like, John, what is that?
Why do I get blamed?
Spray?
Bathroom
It's a
spray.
poopery something. That actually works well when you're traveling.
It's a pre-poop spray.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
What are you bragging?
that's a nice one.
That's actually one of the nicer gifts
Turn
I've
around.
seen on the floor.
There really is a guy.
Hey, the bra was pretty nice.
It's dice and cards.
No way.
Hey,
Oh,
with the
nice.
dice, I was thinking we should play that.
There you go.
There you go.
You like solitaire?
Yes, I do.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, that's
Perfect
good.
gift.
I'm complaining.
That was fun.